Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting Dryads. There's one right now. Okay. Let's sneak up on her. Don't think she's looking over here. Stay looking. Oh, she's seen me. Charge! Ah! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Menagerie series. And today's episode is going to be another one about Ars Magica, so I hope that you're not too sick of it by now. And in the last episode, if you remember, I was having a problem with spawn rates of monsters. That turned out to be a problem with the hecates in the update of Ars Magica, so I had to disable those, but my spawn rates for my monsters are back to being somewhat normal, which is good. But I needed to do something, I think, and it might be a long, drawn-out process, and I figured I would drag you guys along with me while I do it. And we'll start over here with the Oculus. Now, in the previous version of Ars Magica that I had, these spell parts that I don't know yet were encoded so that I couldn't read the name, you know, like velocity added. I wouldn't have been able to read that in the version that I used to have. In this new version, these things are revealed so I can see what they are. Now, when I couldn't see what they were, that caused a couple of problems. One is that with these being encoded and not readable, it meant that I didn't know what was even available. And if you remember, that was my problem. I didn't know about this damage modifier, which would make my projectile spells stronger. So not knowing that it existed meant that I didn't even know that I could make my projectile spells stronger. The other thing is that when these were encoded, even if you did know that, say, this damage modifier existed, you wouldn't be able to know where it was at, which one of these it would end up being, unless you started researching almost all of them. So I think those and maybe other reasons are why it's been changed so that now you can read these. And so what has happened is that over here I noticed that there is a spell modifier called duration. Now, if you remember when I made my flight spell, and I was talking about it, one of my laments that I had about it was it lasts for about 4 or 5 seconds or so, and that's it. Which, you know, is just not too terribly great. My assumption would be that a modifier called duration would cause me to be able to create my flight spell and have it last longer. But the problem is that I need, as you can see, duration is in red. I need a red skill point to get duration, and in fact I have no red skill points at all. But not only that, I'll need a red skill point to get down through all of this there. I need a red skill point, a blue, another red, and another red. So at least 4 red skill points, and quite frankly, that's a lot. Now, if you'll remember, a while back, way over there, I created a little area where I could summon the Earth Guardian and kill it and thereby get blue skill points. And then later I created a place up there where I could summon the Air Guardian, kill it, and get green skill points. And so I'd like to be able to do something similar for the red skill points. Now, looking in the Arcane Compendium, under the bosses, the Water Guardian is the easiest guardian supposedly to kill. So I'm not going to go backwards because that's the easiest one is not going to get me the hardest skill points, the red skill points. As I said, we've found a way to kill the Earth and the Air Guardians. The next in that line of elemental type guardians would be Fire. But if you look here, it's recommended that your magic level be 90 to fight the Fire Guardian. Yikes. I'm only at 52 right now. So, part of me feels like some fire resistance potions would make this an easy battle, but I'm not sure. So I started looking at some of these other guardians. Now, This Arcane Guardian recommends a level of 45. And so I actually summoned this Arcane Guardian and fought it and killed it. It wasn't that hard of a battle, and it only gave me a blue skill point. So, or I'm sorry, a green skill point. So that wasn't going to make a lot of use for me. This Winter Guardian looks pretty brutal, and here it even says that this is a very difficult boss. So that's about as scary to me as the Fire Guardian is, and so I thought maybe I'd try to see if there's something easier than that. The only other one left is this Nature Guardian, which on the one hand, he kind of looks pretty cool. He's got a scythe there and a shield. And the recommended level is 60. I'm close to that. However, summoning the Nature Guardian isn't as very simple. Rumor has it that it appears to guard the servants of nature when enough are slain in quick succession. Now, that's sort of it's not really explained very well, but in looking at the mobs that Ars Magica adds, there's one in here called the Dryad. Now, Dryads, in mythology at least, were creatures of nature, and as this is something that's been added by Ars Magica, I would assume that the Nature Guardian will appear when Dryads are killed in quick succession, as listed, as indicated. But there's a big problem. The Dryads are peaceful creatures. Peaceful. So basically what I would have to do is go and find some Dryads, slay them, in order to get this Nature Guardian to appear. Which, not necessarily something I want to do, killing a bunch of peaceful creatures. Plus I have to find a bunch of them all in one area. Could be a difficult thing to do. There's sort of a solution, and I'm going to stress sort of. Going back to our spells, there's a certain kind of spell that we can cast called Summon. And summoning means that you can summon a mob that's been attuned to a crystal phylactery. And the way you do that is you create this crystal phylactery. Now, it looks like this. Here it is. And they're fairly easy to make. I'm not seeing the recipe here, but they're fairly easy to make. And as you can see, it says that the crystal phylactery captures the life force of creatures that you kill. And when it's full, and it doesn't say how many you would have to kill to fill it, but once it is full, then you can use it in the summoning spell, and the summoning spell will then summon that type of creature. So the thing you might say now is, okay, well, whether finding the Dryads out in nature or summoning them and killing them, what's the difference? Well, maybe not a lot to most people, but in my mind, if it's a summoned creature, it's not quite as real, if you will, as ones that are out there in nature. And that's kind of true here in Ars Magica. As you can see here, summoned creatures will not have any loot. They will have no XP. You can ride horses, you can milk cows, you can breed them, etc. But they don't drop any XP. So they're not as real, if you will, as Dryads that occur in nature. However, I do have to kill some of them in order to fill the phylactery to begin with. And so that's what I'm going to do at first here. I'm going to have to go out into the world. I've already crafted a crystal phylactery. There it is. And in fact, we'll look at the recipe for these. There you go. Magic wall, purified Vintium dust, moonstone, couple pieces of glass. As I said, fairly simple recipe. Gives me an empty crystal phylactery. Now I have an empty crystal phylactery, and essentially the next thing I need to do is to go out and find some Dryads and kill them. And hopefully I won't have to kill a whole lot of them before I can fill up this crystal phylactery. But that's what I have to do now. So the compendium states that Dryads can be found in forests and grasslands. They can be lured with a sapling, but I'm not sure why you'd want to lure them. Oh, I see. They periodically make nearby plants grow faster. I suppose you could lure a sapling, lure a dryad with a sapling, put it somewhere near your crops, and they would grow faster, which might be nice. But of course, unfortunately, I'm not on that kind of a mission. I'm on sort of a terrible mission to kill some innocent, peaceful creatures. But I need to do this, so basically I am choosing to kill a few dryads so that I won't have to kill a lot of dryads. Minimally better, but that's what I need to do. I'm over here in the redwood forest. This is a forest, so I figure I should be able to find some dryads. So let's go hunting. Dang it, they're just too peaceful. They just stand there. I don't want to have to kill it. It's sad. Maybe if I punch it one time, it'll want to fight back. Think that would work? No, still doesn't fight back. Okay. Avert your eyes if you're squeamish. Oh, goodness. Actually, it took quite a long time to find a dryad. So, yeah. In addition, I had to make a few more phylacteries because I accidentally killed things without thinking about the fact that when they're empty, the first thing you kill is what will go into it. So I ended up with a zombie phylactery and a cow phylactery. And now I have a dryad phylactery. I have a dryad phylactery, which is 0.484% filled. And that's from killing one dryad. So if this thing has to be completely full, I'm going to have to kill a lot of dryads. Dang. Okay, the dastardly deed has been done, and I now have a crystal phylactery with 100% dryad essence, which is what I need to cast a spell. I hear a zombie. It's probably outside the mountain over there somewhere. So let's create this spell. I've already previously unlocked the summon component, and I think I'm going to make this a projectile so I can shoot it and have the dryad appear wherever it appears. And we're going to look for summon. There it is. And I don't think that there's going to be anything else that I need. So we're going to give this a very simple name. Summon Dryad. And there we go. So let's take a look at what components are needed for this. Oops, cast my flight spell. There we go, projectile summon. I'll need a blank rune. This is a new thing. In Ars Magica, you always start every spell with a blank rune, and you end it with the spell parchment. Previously, those things were not listed as part of the spell components, but they are now. So I need a blank rune, Vintium Dust, Arrow, Snowball, Kimmerite, Purified Vintium Dust, Blue Orchid, a Monster Focus, the Crystal Phylactery, and 1500 Dark Essence, as well as a Spell Parchment. Now, I haven't yet done anything with Dark Essence, unfortunately. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is actually build a Dark Nexus. Now, we have our Light Nexus here, which generates Light Essence anytime it's daylight. We have our neutral Nexus here, which generates neutral essence whenever I pour a bucket of liquid essence down into there. The dark Nexus, and we'll go into the compendium for this. The dark Nexus is right there. And it's not hard to craft, as you can see. But the way that it generates dark essence is, as you can see here, feeding on a life force of creatures. Basically, when creatures are put into it, it will kill them. and then generate essence off of that. So we will now, I guess, work on making one of these, and I'll be back when it is done. Okay, so I went exploring. I needed to find myself another spawner. I don't say I needed to, but it's going to make things a lot easier with working with the Dark Nexus. So I went looking for a spawner, and I found myself a spider spawner. So I just found it a minute ago. I was searching for quite a while on it. I guess not too terribly long, but a while. And this is what I found. Let's see what we got in these chests. Anything good? Not really. How about over here? Not really. I can use the, I can always use the name tag, of course. So I'll take that. But other than that, nothing great. I did have to go through and rebuild myself a new spawner wrench, so that took up 6 of my precious diamonds. And again, as usual, we are going to absorb it. Such a cool sound. Alright, I'll see you back at the base. Okay, so we have here our dark nexus, which will create essence when it kills a creature over it. And what I've done here is I've created a very simple and basic little spawning area. Glowstone lamps connected to that lever. When I turn that lever off, the lights will go off and the spiders will spawn. As you can see, they are here. I put the spider spawner right there. And using the good old half block trick, if you will, I have a half block here and another half block there. So this is a 1 block wide space, but because it's 2 half blocks, it fools a lot of the Minecraft mechanics. Even though it's a 1 block space, turning the slide off, or turning the lever off, turning the lights off in there will make it completely dark in there. The spiders will spawn. As they get close, they can actually come through this opening, which they won't do it. I don't think they will do it naturally on their own, but it doesn't matter whether they will or not. By the time they get this close, they are within the range of the dark nexus and they get sucked into it. So I'll show you it in action there. So as you can see, as the spider gets pulled into the dark nexus, and the dark nexus will kill it and absorb its essence. And so here I can right click. You can see I've got 544. Kind of hard to read a little bit. Did you see there in red, detected essence 544 using the trusty Magitech staff. And we'll get, let's see if we can get, there we go, another spider coming through. There it is. There's also a skeleton on there. He managed to shoot me before he died, but there you see, they're all dead. And now I'm up to 1,000, oops, sorry, 1,000 essence there in, stacked up there in the Nexus. So I'm going to let that run for a while. It will get up to 1,500 fairly quickly, I imagine. And then once it's up to 1,500, I can make my summoning spell. Okay, it's time to create this summon Dryad spell. So we put the book down. Altar is ready, so we'll start off with the blank rune. Now it wants, oops, Vintium dust. The other thing with the upgrade is that the order that the ingredients are listed in the book seems to be the order that you have to put them into the crafting altar, which was not always the case previously. It wasn't a big deal, but it was sometimes a bit weird or unusual. So just putting in all of the items as requested. There's the phylactery with the Dryad. Oh, that's seemed like that was weird. There. It now wants the Dark Nexus power, so using my crystal wrench, I will tap the Dark Nexus and then tap my altar. Looks to be okay. And so now I can hit the switch. That should get all of that dark power, or dark essence, I guess, maybe. Should be called over here. Yep, good. And then finally the spell parchment. And we have our, should be our summon, yep, summon Dryad spell. Now, I already know that there's really not a good icon for this. I'm going to use this one here. It's the closest one we probably have. And so now I should be able to summon a Dryad like that. There you go. And, ooh, they are a little buggy. I noticed that when I was killing them earlier. And I killed a Dryad. Okay, so now I have a way to summon Dryads and kill them, obviously. Now what I need to do is see if I can build myself an arena in which I can fight these nature guardians when they arrive. And I'll also need to determine how many of these Dryads I need to summon in order, or kill, in order to have the nature Dryad appear. Yeah, the nature Dryad. Huh. I need to figure out how many Dryads I have to kill in order to make the nature guardian appear. Phew. Boy. Alright, so let me work on that.